Good morning, everyone. If you can hear and see my presentation, kindly type in hi in the comment section, please. Three five nine. Good morning. Mile 26, good morning. 461, hello. Okay, great. Thank you, Carrie, for the confirmation. All right. So I want to welcome you all to yet another beautiful session of the Life Extra Speed Live with my humble self, Sheriff Daramola. I will be taking you on a journey through the charts where we shall be evaluating trend lines, chart patterns, market structures, and we shall be using these parameters to identify trading opportunity as we head into the New York session. So we're going to be talking about five different pairs. We actually deliberated on five different pairs yesterday. So the first thing we'll be doing today is to take a revisit of this pair. Let's see how well they're doing, and if there are adjustments that needs to be done, I will be sharing with you and the plans that we will be looking forward to as we head into the New York session. So without further ado, let's dive into the chart. And before I do that, I also came up with a suggestion. I thought about something. Okay, fine. Let us talk about the pairs I've deliberated on yesterday. And I think the first 30-40 minutes we should use to do that. And if you have a pair or commodity you think you want us to look at together, you can drop it in the comment section. I will try as much as possible to squeeze it in into my schedule for the day. So it's great. Okay, B Joy is new with us. Glad to have you around. Just stay with us through to the end of the session, as I promise it's going to be worthwhile. All right. So let's move into the chart and let's see what is happening. So the first pair we deliberated on yesterday was on the US oil, where we were expecting a scenario of a bullish momentum here on the US oil. And one thing I explained to you yesterday was that we had two scenarios we could be looking out for as we head into the New York session. And the first scenario is the selling momentum, that is if price breaks down the key level at 107.30 area and we see a retest of structure, we want to be taking a sell opportunity. But lo and behold, we have a breakout of the $109 area. If you are taking advantage of that move at the outright breakout, kudos to you, and I'm sure you will have moved your stop loss to break even so that you protect your account. But if you have not taken, you are yet to enter the trade, we are right at a point in time where it appears most appropriate to do so. What did we see in that regard to give us the scenario or the expectation of a bullish momentum on the US oil? So the thing we looked out for was the breakout of that key level at $109. We saw that happen in the last 24 hours, and price did a retracement of that move back into our previous structure, and we want to be looking for a reversal pattern within this area to join a potential rally to the upside. If you look closely into what is happening around this area, around the key level here, you would observe that price is right back on the bullish trend line that we identified on the daily time frame yesterday. To make things more clearer for us, I would like to go to the daily time frame so that we can see what I'm talking about. We can see on the daily time frame we have this bullish trend line that has been holding price action since the beginning of the year, and we want to be thinking that price is going to continue from this area. We saw that move from in the month of June. We saw the bearish move into the $102 area. Price came back up, and then we find a new higher low, which I'm thinking is going to evolve into a reversal pattern in the form of a double bottom structure, which we might be looking out for a breakout of structure, a retest of structure to push price further to the upside. So let's go back to our 1 hour time frame and let's see how we wish to take advantage of that bullish potential when it happens during the New York session. So what I've said so far is this: we already saw the breakout of structure, which is a very good signal for us to take advantage of a bullish momentum, and we want to see price do a reversal pattern somewhere probably on our lower time frame around this area, which is also right above that bullish trend line, which also shares a confluence with the key level at $109 area for us to push price to the upside. So our take profit target for any bullish momentum at this point still remains at $114. As we can see, if we look left, we can see how price has respected that area in the past, and it appears that area has been a selling niche for participants in the market. So what is going to be our contrary perspective if the bullish momentum doesn't happen? So you might be asking, okay, fine, what if we are going to be taking a selling momentum from this area? Well, if we want to be taking selling momentum from this area, remember during the course of yesterday, I made mention of the $107.30 area to be a yardstick for us to take advantage of any selling momentum as we head into the New York session yesterday. However, with the present structure at this point in time, we want to see a breakdown of this key level, a breakdown of this bullish trend line, a retest of structure, probably that key level, to send price crashing to the downside. So what I want to be doing at this point is to delete the key level here, as it doesn't appear to be relevant at this point. So what is going to be our view if we are looking for that bearish momentum? So the first thing we look at is, first, we saw this impulsive move to the downside. Which is probably a signal that we might be going bearish. And after that impulsive move to the downside, we saw price do what looks like a correction, that is a retracement into somewhere around the golden zone area, after which we might be looking for patterns that will support a trend continuation to the downside. So that is a scenario we're going to be looking out for if we are going to do a sell momentum on this one. We wait for price to break down the bullish trend line we identified on the daily time frame. We want to see a retest of structure. It could be a retest of the $109 area, or probably the retest of this bullish trend line, after which we want to be looking for a reversal pattern on lower time frame to support a trend continuation to the downside. So personally, I want us to be looking at the take profit target within the demand zone, as we have a demand zone around between the $104 and the $102 area in the past, and we want to be looking at price coming into that area. And if we see a breakdown of that structure, then we could be thinking of a trend continuation further to the downside. So for the bullish momentum, our projected take profit target is at $114, and if we look at from above 109, we will be having at least a minimum of $450 to catch. And if it's going to be a selling momentum, then below the bullish trend line here will serve as an area to take advantage of that with a 500 pips target here on the US oil. So with this information I just shared with you, I hope I have made things a little bit clearer and a little bit simpler for you to um, look at the market when the New York session begins. However, if you think you still don't understand or you still need further clarifications, feel free to drop a comment in the comment section and I'll be willing to be of help in that regard. So I'll be giving like 10 to 15 seconds to see if we have any questions whatsoever. Okay, Wadia, good morning to you. Choy, good day all. 3449 is saying he can't see my screen. Well, from my monitoring device here, it appears everything is okay. So I will suggest that you probably restart your app, shut your app down, and then restart it all over again. I'm very sure you will get to see my screen. Okay, Wadia is asking for further clarifications. Okay, what do you, in what aspects do you not understand? Let me know so that I can be able to shed more light on it. I'll give 5 seconds to see. Okay. Is it going to be more bearish? Well, like I said, going into the New York session, we, especially in the beginning of the week like this, we normally have a two perspective that will guide our actions going into the New York session, especially in the early days of the new week. One thing first we want to be looking out for is a signal. That is, when the week begins, we want to look out for a signal, after which we look out for a confirmation that will push price in that perspective we are looking at. Now, in the scenario, in the case of what we have here on the US oil and looking at what has been happening in the last 24 to 30 hours, we can see that price has been a little bit more bullish. Price began here during the week. Price began at around $109 during the week, and price went down, did a consolidation phase around this area. We saw price come down into 107, then came back up into 109 again, came back down into 107. This is a clear factor into the indecision that is in the market, as participants actually waiting for a catalyst to push price in whatever direction price is going to go to. So at that point in time, we don't know if price is going to go further down or it's going to go further up. But fortunately for us, when we looked at if we looked at what happened in the early hours of yesterday's trading session slash the New York session, we saw this bullish momentum, which gave us a signal that the possibility of a bullish trend is very possible this week. We saw a breakout of that 109 level, which was our key level, which I shared here yesterday. We saw a breakout of that structure. That is a signal, that's a bullish signal, and we want to be looking forward to a retest of structure to give us further confirmation. Now we do have a retest of that structure at this moment, and one thing we want to be looking out for is to look out for a reversal pattern. And you know what a reversal pattern is? A reversal pattern is a structure that is going to tend towards the prior leading price action, and the prior leading price action at this point in time is the bullish signal we just identified here. And we want to be looking out for a reversal pattern. It could be your inverse head and shoulder, it could be your double bottom structure, it could be your 1 2 3 reversal pattern, something like this. Whatever it is that forms out, then that gives us a confirmation that this trend is actually going to the upside. So on your lower time frame, you want to look for structures like this to take advantage of the trend continuation to the upside. So that is the first scenario I identified here on the US oil, with a take profit target sitting at $114 for now, as we never can tell if price is going to reject this area and push price to the downside, or is it going to break out of structure, retest to push further to the upside. But at the moment, we have a $114 take profit target for the US oil. Now the other scenario is this: if we are going to do a sell on the on the US oil, if a sell momentum is going to happen, what are the parameters we are going to be looking out for? So the first thing we want to be looking out for is this. We want to see price break down that bullish trend line, the trend line we identified on the daily time frame. If you are not clear on that, let me show you one more time. On the daily time frame, we have the bullish trend line which we have identified and has been guiding price action since the beginning of the year. So we want to see price break down that level. Let's go back to the 1 hour time frame. We want to see price break down that bullish trend line. That is a signal. We are not just going to jump into that trade right away. We are looking for that signal to give us the tendency of where market is going to. So once we see a signal of the breakdown of that bullish trend line, then we want to wait for price to do a confirmation, which might come in the form of a retest of that bullish trend line or the key level at $109, where we will be looking out for patterns on lower time frame, reversal patterns to be precise, on lower time frame that will support a trend continuation to the downside. So if that's going to happen, we want our take profit target to be within the demand zone, as we can see how the demand zone held price action supported during the course of last month, and there is a tendency that price might come down into this area. That is, if a selling momentum happens, and probably do a reversal pattern to push price to the upside. So these are the two perspectives we are going to be looking out for as we head into the New York session. And to make things more easier for us, we already have a key level sitting at $109, as anything right above that level is going to be bullish, and anything below the $109 area will be bearish for us. So this makes things a little bit simple for us. You use your $109 key level as a yardstick to guide you either your bullish or bearish momentum as we head into the New York session. So I hope this is clear, Wadia, and so we need to be very, very patient at this point, as we want to be looking out for confirmation when we are talking about the bullish momentum. We already seen a signal that supports the bullish momentum, so we want to see a breakdown of that, a reversal pattern, to confirm that the bullish momentum holds. So patience is hereby required at this point. You are welcome, Wadia. So so let's move on to the next pair. So we're going to move on to the UK oil, which I always say here is always similar to that which we have on the US oil. And so let's see what we have today on the UK oil. So on the UK oil, we also have a similar scenario which we have on the US oil. We can see how price has played out in the last 24 hours. Since the last time we talked about this pair, we were seeing price consolidating around between the $112 and the $110 area. In the beginning of the week, we saw price was consolidating within this phase. We had this consolidation phase, emphasizing the indecision in the market. Not until finally we saw that breakout of structure, giving us the signal, a bullish signal, and lo and behold, we have a retest of that key level at $112, after which we are going to be looking for confirmation to take advantage of a bullish momentum. So for the confirmation, we want to be looking out for reversal patterns on lower time frame. It could be a double bottom structure, inverse head and shoulder, whatever reversal pattern comes in. So that is why it's very important that we know our reversal patterns very, very well, so be able to identify such setups when they evolve. So after which we look out for that confirmation that will push price to the upside. So you can see we already have that breakout of structure around this area, and that has given us a signal that there is a bullish momentum that's probably going to happen henceforth. So where will our take profit target be? Remember, during the course of last week's trading session, we were able to make some profit, and our take profit target during last week's trading session was at $120 point. So during this week too as well, I'm looking forward to the possibility that price will probably come back into that $120 area, after which whatever happens at that point will guide us on how to go on this trade. Now, after identifying that bullish momentum, that bullish momentum here, that bullish perspective rather, what is going to be happening if we are going to do a sell on this pair? If I bring out my line chart at this point, it is easy to observe that we've been seeing what looks like a higher low, and connecting the higher low together, we're going to be having something like this. Hold on a second. We only work with structures because structures give us a picture into the psychology of the market. The structures will definitely tell you how participants are behaving or responding and reacting to the event at the moment. So with the present structure here now, we have something like this. We can see our price has been respecting that temporary bullish trend line I just drew here on the US oil. We can see every time price comes into this level, it gets rejected. And not this one is an exception here. We saw the breakdown, but immediately price came back up to continue to respect that bullish trend line, and we're going to be hopeful that this is going to happen. And you can see how this area also shares a confluence with the $112 area, where we said we'll be looking for a reversal pattern to give us a confirmation that a bullish trend is visible at this point. So what is going to happen if price breaks down this key level at $112 area? Then if price breaks down the key level at $112 area, then that could probably transform or evolve into a bearish signal, as we're not going to take advantage. We're not going to take that move right away. That's just a signal, and we're not going to get too excited about it. So once price breaks down that bullish trend line, which also shares a confluence with the key level at $112, that is a breakdown of both the bullish trend line and the key level, then we want to be looking for a confirmation in the form of a retest of structure. It could come in the retest of the key level at $112, or it could come in the retest of the bullish trend line we just identified a couple of minutes ago, after which we want to be looking for patterns on lower time frame that will support a trend continuation to the downside. So if that's going to happen, then definitely we want to be taking a selling momentum right below the key level at $112 after a reversal pattern has been identified on lower time frame. Please note that we must see a breakdown and retest of that area of the bullish trend line before we are going to be taking advantage of that trend to the downside. In addition to what I've just said, there is a possibility that price breaks below, yes, and comes up. We need to be very patient, because coming back up could break above that bullish trend line, which is also going to be a sign that we're actually going bullish at a retest of the bullish trend line to the upside. So we really need to be very, 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 very careful, cautious, and meticulous about taking advantage of any trade on this UK oil. So going into the New York session, I've made things a little bit easier for you by identifying two parameters that will guide our action forward. The first parameter is the key level at $112, and the second one is the bullish trend line we just identified with a dotted green line. So anything right above this area is tending bullish, and anything below this area is tending bearish. So I will advise that we remain patient and always be on standby so that you don't miss out on this opportunity. I always advise that you take a screenshot of my screen, as this can help you, as you can use it as a reference point in making your own individual decision during the New York session. So I would like to take a pause at this point and go into the comment section, and if you feel you still need further clarifications, or there are things you don't understand, feel free to drop it in the comment section, and I'll be willing to be of assistance in that regard. So 10-15 seconds will do as I take a pause at this point. Okay, Choy. All right, good. How much to trade, become partner? Well, I'm not sure I understand what you mean there, Chochoy. You might want to do a rephrase of that statement so that I can get a better picture of what you're talking about. 784, hi, you're welcome on board. Glad to have you around. Oh, Philippines, Chochoy is Philippine. Glad to have you. Are there any questions, clarifications needed? All right, I'll assume in the absence of none, my explanation has been very clear. So let's move on to the next pair. The next pair we deliberated on yesterday was the Euro USD. So let's see what has happened so far on the Euro USD. And let's go down. We were expecting a bullish momentum on the Euro USD yesterday, which didn't happen. And if I were you, I hope you took advantage of this trade. We had this key level here at 1.04500 area, which was our yardstick when we were heading into the New York session yesterday. And we also have this bearish trend line, the dotted red line you can see on your screen, as also our yardstick as we headed into the New York session yesterday. We were expecting price to break. We had the breakout of that trend line yesterday. We had this breakout of trend line, and we were expecting a retest of structure that will push price to the upside. But that did not happen, as this trend line held price resisted, and it became a new resistant level for participants in the market. So what did we have? We had this area, we had this move. Price came back down, did a retest of that area, giving us a signal that price will be going to the downside. And as we saw, price moved to the downside significantly in the early hours of today's trading session. So we witnessed about 2-3 engulfing bearish engulfing candle, which broke through, which sliced through our demand zone. If we look left, let me show you the demand zone we identified yesterday. I think let's go to the daily time frame. Let's see what I'm talking about here. So we had a demand zone sitting at around 1.04 area, where price has been respecting this area since May, and we were of the opinion that this area was going to be respected again, but lo and behold, we had a breakthrough of that demand zone. So now going into the New York session today, how do we intend taking advantage if we missed that trade? So for those who took advantage of that selling momentum yesterday, kudos to you for being on standby to be able to catch that move to the downside. However, for those who are yet to take advantage of this move, I still think that market and structure still have something for us on this one. So how is that going to happen if we are going to take advantage of any selling momentum here on the Euro USD? What we want to be looking out for is this. We want to be looking out for a retest of structure, that is price coming back to either this bearish trend line, the dotted red line you can see on your screen right now, or probably come back into structure, where we will be looking for patterns on lower time frame that will support a trend continuation to the downside. So to make things a little bit more easier for us, it's most appropriate that I identify a key level around this area, as this will help us. This will be a yardstick that will guide our actions going forward. So if we bring out our line chart at this point, and then we connect the previous low, as we can see here, we have something at about 1.03900, which is also a very strong psychological level. So if we connect those lows, we have something like this. Going back to our candle chart, we should be having something around like this. So we have a temporary key level sitting at, hold on a second, let's label this for the sake of clarity. Temporary key level sitting at 1.03900. So we have something like this, key level at 1.03900. So one thing we want to be looking out for is this. We want to look at price coming back to either this bearish trend line, or at most this key level at 1.03900 area, after which we want to be looking for reversal patterns that will support a trend continuation to the downside. Now, mind you, it's not all the time price respects the structure. Price might come a little bit close to the structure and then continue to the downside, or go a little above the structure and then continue to the downside. What we really want to be looking out for is a reversal pattern. What does a reversal pattern tells us? It gives us an information that price is actually reversing from the prior leading price action. So it might go a little bit close to that level, probably come to this area before we see the reversal to the downside, or even come a little bit close to the bearish trend line, or probably around the bearish trend line before we see the reversal to the downside. So these are what we want to be looking out for. Look out for reversal patterns when we see the retracement phase, and at this point, where will our take profit target be? Well, our take profit target is going to be an extension of that impulse leg. We already have this impulsive move to the downside, which we don't know where it's going to end. We don't know where this impulse leg is going to end at this point. So we need to be patient and wait to hold on and see where this impulse leg ends, after which we are going to be bringing our Fibonacci retracement tool, Fibonacci extension tool, run it through that impulse leg. Hold on a second. Assume this impulse leg is going to end here. Remember, this is just an assumption. It could end further down. So assume it's going to end here. We want to extend that impulse leg to the future, and we take a aim at a 127.2, between the 127.2 and the 1414 area as our take profit target during the New York session, if that is going to happen. So this is what we're going to be looking out for. We have our TP target sitting at around this area. TP targets at around this area for any selling momentum. Let's place this right at the center of this box. We have this here, and let me delete the Fibonacci retracement. So how do we know, in addition to this, how do we know that this impulsive move has ended? We will know the impulsive move has ended when we sight a reversal pattern. When we sight a reversal pattern, we saw a breakout of structure, then we know the impulsive move has ended. Then we can bring out our Fibonacci extension tool and run it through that leg and extend it into the 127.2 and 1414 area as take profit target zone. So this is what I will be looking out for going into the New York session. So where will our take profit target be? Okay, we'll be looking at how many pips that is. If it's going to be starting from around below this key level, we should be looking at least a minimum of 150 pips to catch here. However, if price comes back above this trend line and this key level comes right back above this area, and then do a retest of either this key level or this bearish trend line, then this should be a signal that we might be going bullish. So we'll be looking out for a reversal pattern around this area to join the rally to the upside. I hope you understand what I've been explaining so far. So on this pair right now, we have identified the possibility of a bearish momentum, and at the same time we've identified the possibility of a bullish momentum on this one, where the key level at 1.03900 and the bearish trend line, the dotted red line you can see on your screen, is going to be serving as a yardstick and a guide to giving us a clue into how we want to be taking advantage of any potential that evolves before our eyes during the New York session. So this is what I'm going to be looking out for on the Euro USD. So I'll be pausing at this point and taking a pause at this point and give around 10 to 15 seconds to see if we have any question. So I'll be looking at the chat. Let's see if there are questions or further clarifications needed. Just drop it in the comment section and I'll be willing to be of help in that regard. "562, good morning. 193, hi, how are you? Glad all is well. Okay. Wadia Solano, okay, I guess that is not for me. 736, hello, how are you? Okay, so in the absence of no question, I want to assume that my explanation so far has been very, very clear and prompt. So we moved on to the GBP CHF yesterday, and I think the GBP CHF is still, we are still struggling on the GBP CHF to make a stance, as we were expecting the bullish momentum here on the GBP CHF during the course of yesterday's trading session. And one of the yardstick we were looking out for then was we were looking out for a breakout and retest of the key level at 1.16300 area, which has been a significant area in the last 2 weeks. So if we look at the structure during the early hours of this week's session, as in at the beginning of this week's session, we saw our price broke out of that key level around this area. We saw the breakout. We had a significant breakout of that key level on the first day of this week, and we were expecting, as at yesterday, expecting price to come back down into this area to do a reversal pattern, which actually happened, and price moved up. But unfortunately, we saw price came down to the downside, and we saw multiple rejections of this area. And at this point in time, if you are taking that trade, you'll probably be in a loss, but there is no cause for alarm, as we want to be. I'm still of the opinion that a bullish momentum is still very, very possible on the GBP CHF. Now, going into the New York session, what is our expectations going to be like? Well, definitely we already have a previous low to work with around this area. Hold on a second, let me draw it out. We already have a previous low around this area to work with as we head into the New York session, as we want to continue to see that price stays right above this level to guide our action forward. Sorry, give me a moment, please. So what I'm going to be looking out for, sorry for the break in transmission, please, I just had to attend to my little baby. So we had this retest of structure here, and one thing we want to be looking out for, if you're already in this trade, you will already be in a loss already, but there is no cause for alarm, like I said earlier. But I'm still expecting price to come right above the skill level, and if price comes right above and does a retest of the skill level, it would welcome an opportunity to add more position to this trade, as we could, if we sight a reversal pattern right above this area to push price to the upside. So where will our take profit target be at this point? Our take profit target still holds at this area, that is this area right around the resistance level of the channel we identified on the daily time frame. Okay, let me show you the daily time frame, what we identified yesterday. If you had missed out on it during our live session yesterday, we identified, okay, let me use the 4 hours time frame to make things a little bit clearer. So during our live session yesterday, we identified this bearish channel where we had this resistance level and this support level, as price has been respecting this area since the beginning of the month of June. We can see our price has been juxtaposing between the resistance level, and we saw our price came into this resistance level here on the 29th of June, did a retest of that same area. Price was unable to break below, did a retest of this area before we saw the breakout of that key level which serve as the neckline of the double bottom structure we just identified, and I'm expecting price to do a retest and continue to the upside. And the first take profit target at the moment is our resistance level here of the bullish trend line, which I have highlighted here with a circle. But from a long-term perspective, I'm looking forward to price coming into at least the 1.19 area or 1.2 area in the coming weeks. It might not happen this week. It might take probably 2 weeks. We never can tell. So I have a long-term take profit target within this area, and that is going to be giving us about how many pips that is. That's a whooping 300 minimum to catch on this one. So let's go back to our 1 hour time frame. So what did I say we are looking out for going into the New York session? To make things easier, we already have a key level sitting at 1.16300, where we want to be looking for price to break above that level, probably do a retest of structure and push into the first take profit target, which shares a confluence with the resistance level of the channel we identified earlier. And if price breaks above that resistance level of the channel, that is, we see a break above of that level, then that gives us a signal that buyers are becoming very strong and sellers will probably give up at this point. So what we want to be looking out for to take advantage of that move continuation is to look for a retest of either this bearish trend line or a structure around here, where we'll be looking forward to hard position at the site of a reversal pattern on our lower time frame as we head into the take profit target which I identified on the daily time frame. So this is my scenario here on the GBP/CHF as I continue to expect a bullish momentum here on the GBP/CHF. Well, for bearish momentum, I'm still very doubtful of any bearish momentum here, as I can only do a bearish momentum if I see price break below this demand zone we identified yesterday. And if we see price break below this demand zone, then definitely we want to be looking forward to a selling opportunity after a retest of either the demand zone or the retest of this key level we identified here at 1.15900 area to the downside. So this is my expectation on GBP/CHF. If you have questions, kindly throw it in the comment section. I'll be pausing at this point. I'll be taking a pause at this point and be looking through the charts. Feel free to drop a comment if you need further clarifications, and please mention which aspect you don't understand so that I can be clear on your statement. Okay, Wadia is asking for gold. Yes, gold is the next pair we'll be looking at. We actually deliberated on gold yesterday, and gold will be the next pair we're going to be looking out for after this. Hello, Myers. Glad to have you around. You were a little bit late today. What happened? You at work? Jayaba, I hope I got that correctly. Good morning to you. Glad to have you around. 8032 has come again with Tech 100. Now we have to attend to gold first before I attend to Tech 100. Let's see if I can finish with gold with the little more time I have left. Then we can squeeze in Tech 100. You came in a little bit late. If I had seen that earlier, I would have tried to squeeze this into our schedule. So let's move on to gold and let's see what is happening on gold. Sincerely, gold has been a little bit profitable, yes, and price is actually having that bearish tendency we were looking out for yesterday. So hold on a second. So what I was saying, okay, yesterday remember we've been making profit on the gold since last week. Last week we saw the breakdown of that bullish trend line we identified on the daily time frame. We saw the breakdown of that bullish trend line, and during the course of yesterday's live session we saw price do a retest of that bullish trend line. You might be asking, what bullish trend line am I talking about? So let's go back to the daily time frame and see what we are talking about. So is it daily? I think it's on the weekly. Yes, on the weekly. So on the weekly time frame, we can see the bullish trend line that has been holding price action since the beginning of the year, and at no point in time did we see price come below that line. And anytime price comes below that line, we normally see a sharp rejection of that area. And one thing that we saw happened since the month of April is that we saw this bearish move to the downside. We saw price do a sharp rejection of that bullish trend line. Price came back down to that bullish trend line, and we were hoping that this could be a reversal pattern in the form of a double bottom structure where price will be pushing to the upside. But that did not happen, as the structure we saw on lower time frame was tending towards a bearish momentum, as there is a possibility that price could still go to the downside further, which could give us a long-term signal of a bearish momentum, as a signal, a retest of structure, which would be a confirmation, could push price to the downside. This is a long-term perspective, mind you. But since we are looking at what is going to be happening this week or in the next couple of weeks, we scale down to the 1 hour time frame where we saw structures. We saw the first breakdown last week. We took advantage of this move. We took advantage of this. How many pips was that? I think over 2,000 pips move last week. And during the early hours of this week, we saw price come back to do a retest of that bullish trend line we identified on the weekly time frame. And what did we see? Very interested. We saw price come back into the $1,805 area. Did something that looks like a reversal pattern, as we saw a lower high, and price did a breakdown of the neckline of that reversal pattern, and the neckline of that reversal pattern is our key level at $1,805 area. And we already have the breakdown of that reversal pattern, which is our signal. We have a retest of that area, and I'm looking to sell the XAU USD. So the gold at this moment is looking more bearish at this moment, and what we want to be doing on the gold is to sell the gold against the USD. Now, where will our take profit target be if we are going to be selling the gold? I think I explained that yesterday. We identify between the 170, I think $1,768 and $1,775 area as our take profit target. I forgot to label this area, so allow me to do a label so that we can have a visual clarification of what our expectations are during this week. So we have our TP target around this area for any selling momentum if that's going to happen this week. And how did we get our take profit target around this area? Well, very simple that is. If we look left, we have an impulsive move, which is an impulse leg, and definitely from a technical perspective, our expectations are we want to project this impulse leg into the future. We should be having something like this. And to make things a little bit more clearer, more specific, you might want to use your Fibonacci extension tool to get this precise figures. So if you run your Fibonacci extension tool through the previous impulse leg, what do we have? We aim at between the 127.2 and the 1414 area, and our TP target falls within this area. So this is what we're going to be looking out for this week, or probably this next coming week as well, as we never can tell if price is going to go this far this week, which dovetails to about how many pips that is. I think about 2,000, close to over 3,000 pips to catch if price plays out as expected. So if you're taking advantage of this move, kudos to you. But if you are yet to do so, let's look at what our expectations is going to be as we head into the New York session. So bringing out our line chart, I want to identify a temporary key level that we want to be using as our guide as we head into the New York session. So if we look left, I'm looking at the $1,800 area, which is also a very, very strong psychological level. We have a $1,800 around here, and that is, we have this. Let's give this a different color. So we have, I think it's appropriate we label it so that we can key level at at $1,800. So let's just put this right below this area. At the top, okay. I think at the bottom will be most appropriate. So we have a key level here at $1,800 area, And if you are yet to take advantage of this move, then definitely we want to be looking for a breakdown of this key level, then a retest of structure. The retest might come as far as the key level here at $1,805, or it might be around this area, after which we look for patterns on lower time frame that supports a trend continuation to the downside. Then you can now join this trade. However, for those who are already in this trade, if we see a breakdown of the key level at $1,800 area, then definitely we want to be adding more position to our existing trade. So this is my setup here on the XAU USD, and to be on the safer side, to be more cautious, no, sorry, I think that's not the right word. I think to be more protective of our account and for us not to be in an unnecessary bearish momentum, this key level at $1,805 is serving as our yardstick going forward. As if price breaks above that area and does a retest of that key level, that is seeing a reversal pattern sitting right above that key level, then definitely we want to be switching our buyers to a bullish momentum. You see, one interesting thing about trading the financial market is that we really need to be very, very, very flexible, as we don't want to be too static, because price action is changing every single time. And if price action is changing, we always have signs in the market that points at that direction that things are already changing. So we want to be always looking out for this kind of scenarios. That's why I have made things easier for you as we head into the new year section by identifying structures and parameters that will guide your actions during this time when you're on your own. So you might want to screenshot my screen so that you can use it as a reference point when you are making your individual decision. So I think I am done on the gold. I don't know if you have any clarifications. If you need any clarifications, you can just drop it in the comment section, or if you don't understand what I've said so far, probably you still need some little hints into what I've discussed, you can drop it in the comment section and I will be willing to be of help in that regard. It's already noon on my side here and I am almost running out of time. What's your expectation on LTC USD? I'm so sorry I will not be able to take this today because we're already running out of time. Tech 100, US Tech 100, I'm not sure. I think, can I do anything on that? Let's see if I can. If it's not too complicated, I would. Let me see what I can do. I've been promising you this for over a week now. Okay, let's quickly run on the higher time frame. Let's see what's happening on the higher time frame. Remember, what we do here is we normally use market structures to identify patterns. I'm not a fundamental trader. I'm more of a technical trader. And what I mean by technical trader, I use price movement to be able to decipher the psychology of the participants in the market at that point in time, giving me a clue into where price might be tending towards. So that's what we do here. So now looking at US Tech now on the daily time frame, what do we have here? It is obvious that price has been trending since the beginning of the year. We can see price finding lower lows and lower highs. You can see that has been very, very evident. And one thing we have here is this: since price tested $11,000 area, we saw an engulfing move to the upside and price came back down. Then we saw a consolidation phase around the $11,400 area, which is a higher low. Price at this point in time, price is yet to break the previous low here. So one thing I want to be doing at this point is to identify this area as a demand zone. So let's give this a demand zone. Let's label it for the sake of clarity. So we have a demand zone sitting between the $11,000 area and the what's it called, and the $11,400 area. So with the demand zone sitting around this area, definitely we want to be looking for bullish momentum from this area at this point. Now on the contrary, if price breaks below this key level, this demand zone, then definitely a retest of structure will give us a selling bias on the US Tech. Now, how do we want to take advantage of this move going into the New York session? The first thing we want to be doing to scale down to a much lower time frame where we'll have a better perspective into what price action is saying. So let's scale down to, let's say, the 4 hours time frame, I guess. I think the 4 hours time frame is most appropriate at this point. Okay, so on the 4 hours time frame, what do we have here? So on the 4 hours time frame, what I want to be doing at this point is to identify a key level, which shall be our yardstick, which shall guide our actions during the New York session. So bringing out my line chart at this point and connecting the series, if we look left, we can see that at this point in time, price has been a demand zone around this area. That is during the month of May, we saw price being a demand zone. And since price broke down this demand zone in May, this area became a resistance zone, a supply zone in June. Then we have a breakout of that area again. Price came back down into this area, and we have this resistance area around this point in time. So if we, like we said, I said on the daily time frame, since we have a demand zone around this area and price is still oscillating right out of that demand zone, and we want to be looking for buying opportunity at this point at this area in the market, how do we take advantage of that buying opportunity when it finally happened? So we want to be connecting this area, which has been a determinant of price action in the past. I just showed you these areas, this area, this area, and this area, and this area. So around the $11,500 and $11,600 appear to be an area that has been a major determinant of price action in the last 2 months. So I want to connect this area together, and this shall be our key level going into the New York session. So let's connect this area together, and what do we have here? So we have around $11,600. Our golden zone, our key level is always gold. So let's label this area. Let's give it key level at $11,600. So we place it right at the top here on the right hand side, and then we have something like this. Okay, so we have something like this to guide our actions going forward. So what do we want to be looking out for during the New York session? One thing I want to be looking out for is this. We want to have price break above the key level, give us a significant breakout of the key level. And once we have that breakout, that will give us a signal. Remember, we don't get too excited at signals. When we cite signals, we don't get too excited because it's just a signal that can change in the nearest future. So a signal comes out, we get a signal, we break out of that area, price closes above that area, then a retest of structure where we look out for patterns on lower time frame that supports a trend continuation. And when I say patterns, I mean reversal patterns. Whatever reversal pattern that is, it could be your inverse head and shoulder, it could be your double bottom, it could be your 1 2 3 pattern, it could even be a wedge. So whatever reversal pattern comes in at this point, we want to take advantage at the breakout of structure to the upside on this one. So where will our take profit target be? Very simple. If we look left, we can see that we have an impulse leg from the demand zone here. Definitely we want to be projecting this impulse leg into the future, as from a technical perspective, we all understand that when we see an impulsive move, price does a retracement, then we see a move to the upside from this area. Sorry, I just got a glimpse again now into what's happening right now. You see, we saw this impulsive move to the downside, and it looks more like an inverse head and shoulder to me, where the neckline is the key level at $11,600. So when we have a reversal pattern like that, we want to wait for breakout of structure, retest of structure, then we enjoy the move to the upside. So like I was saying, where's our take profit target? We want to project that impulse leg into the future, and to be more specific, we bring out our Fibonacci extension tool, run it through that previous impulse leg and back into the structure, and we're going to be aiming at where? You get it right. Between the 127.2 and the 1414 area shall be where our take profit target is going to be for the US tech, probably for this week or in 2 weeks time. So we don't know what's going to happen afterwards. If price comes into this area, we might be seeing a reversal pattern that will push price to the downside. But till that happens, for now, we want to be taking advantage of a bullish momentum right above the key level at $11,600. Now, in addition to that, I want to add one more parameter to make things a little bit more easier for you to take advantage of any move to the upside. If we connect the series of lower lows at this point, sorry, higher lows at this point, we have a bullish trend line to work with. So if price breaks down that bullish trend line, definitely we don't want to be in that trade. But if price continues to respect that bullish trend line, we want to be taking advantage of a bullish potential to the upside. So this is my scenario here on the US tech. I hope I have made justice to this, and I just hope you'll be on standby to catch the move when it finally happens. So selling momentum is a no-no for me on the US tech if I were you, and I only want to sell if price breaks that demand zone we identified on the daily time frame. After we see a breakdown of that demand zone, then price comes back to do a retest of either this demand zone, the key level, which also shares a confluence with that bullish trend line, after which we'll be looking for reversal patterns to join the decline to the downside. So what does it tell you? Patience, patience, patience. So thank you for being around. I think I'll have to call it a day at this point. I hope I made myself clear to you out there who was seeking for the US tech. So before I close for the day, let's quickly do a recap of what we have talked about so far. So the first pair we talked about is the US oil, where I was telling you how much I'm expecting a bullish momentum on the US oil, and we already have a breakout of structure, which is a signal we've been looking out for, and price is presently oscillating right above. We have the breakout of structure here, and price has come back into the bullish trend line area, and we are still hoping that price will come back to do a reversal pattern to push price to the upside. Our take profit target remains at $114 for any buy or any bullish momentum here. And for the selling opportunity, we made mention of the fact that if we continue to see price do a breakdown of that bullish trend line we identified on the daily time frame, we are not going to get too excited, as this is just a signal. We want to wait for price to do a retest of that bullish trend line or the key level at $109 area, where we'll be looking for patterns on lower time frame that will support a trend continuation to the downside. And if selling opportunity is what is going to be coming for us this week, our selling take profit target is going to fall within the demand zone we identified here on the 1 hour time frame. Then we moved on to the UK oil, where we said price action are almost the same, and it's the same thing we have here too. We had a breakout of structure, a signal, a bullish signal. Price has come back into the key level area. We want to be looking out for reversal patterns that will push price to the upside, with the take profit target sitting at $120. And if price breaks down this key level, we want to be looking out for a breakdown or retest of structure to join the decline to the downside. Take profit target sits within the previous demand zone we identified here on the UK oil. Now, in addition to the parameters for the UK oil, we also identified a temporary bullish trend line, which you can see on your screen with the green dotted line. As this price right above this area, you can see that the bullish trend line also shares a confluence with the key level, making this area a very, very sensitive area. As a breakdown of this area and retest could send price crashing to the downside, and a reversal pattern sitting on this trend line will definitely send price to the upside. So be on standby on this one, and be conscious enough to take advantage of that move when it finally happens. So we moved on to the Euro USD, where we saw a bearish signal, and I made mention of the fact that for those who missed that move, their price is likely going to give us opportunities in the form of a retest of either the key level or the temporary key level identified here on the 1.03900 area, where we'll be looking for patterns that supports a trend continuation to the downside. However, I made mention of we need to be very, very conscious, as if we see a breakout of that key level then a retest of either the key level or this bearish trend line is an opportunity to go bullish on the Euro USD. Then we moved on to the GBP CHF, where I'm still expecting a bullish potential on the GBP CHF, and the way things are going now, things might be looking a little bit messy for those who took advantage of that bullish momentum, but there's no cause to worry. If it hits your stop loss, it's okay. We're still looking out for that bullish potential. That is, if price breaks above that key level at 1.6 1.16300 area, retest of structure, moves price to the upside. So in addition to that, I identified this structure here at 1.15, 1.16 area. Is it 1.159, I guess, where I said if price breaks down this level, we want to stay away from this trade and we want to wait for price to come back above that key level for us to take advantage of that bullish move to the upside. Take profit targets still lines up with the resistance level of the descending channel we identified on the daily time frame, and with a long-term take profit target sitting at around 1.19 area and 1.12 area on the GBP CHF. Then we moved on to the gold, and on the XAUUSD we're still expecting a bearish momentum here. We saw our price form the reversal pattern sitting right above that key level, and that key level now becomes our neckline of that reversal pattern, and we already saw a signal in the form of a breakdown of that area. We saw a retest of that structure and boom, taking that same opportunity. So for those who already took that trade, you are in profit already. And I also identified an area for those who are yet to take advantage of that trade in the form of a breakdown of the key level at $1,800 area, retest of structure, then you can join the decline to the downside. And for those who are already in the trade, breakdown retest of key level at $1,800 welcomes an opportunity to add more position to your existing trade. The TP target sits around between the $1,770 area, which is an extension of the previous impulse leg we had here, and let's see how price plays out during the New York session. So on this note, I will want to call it a day at this point. Thank you for being around. I'm really grateful to share a moment with you and to analyze the market together, and I hope to see you here same time tomorrow as usual. So on this note, I wish you best of luck during the New York session and do have a wonderful day.